as our next and my dear fellow co-chair of the C100. And notably, this is also C100's first co-chair located outside of the Bay Area. And in this case, in Toronto. So it's a big deal. I am sure all of you know who Janet is, but brief introduction or just on her background. She's an operator, started her career in brand management at P&G, then a consultant at McKinsey, then early at eBay, came back to Canada, founded Kijiji, got recruited into venture, and most recently, she was appointed as the very first woman to lead one of Canada's early stage venture firms, Real Ventures. And so Janet she's a magnet for founders in Canada. She's a champion for growing the ecosystem in that community across the tech ecosystem across Canada. And so, when we're considering having our first co-chair in Canada, Janet, you were a no-brainer. We are thrilled to have you on the board. Please welcome. Please join me in welcoming. And again, it's a little strange that you're not hearing all the applause, but let them come in the chats. Welcome, Janet. I'm excited to work with you. I think you are now on the panelist. How about you share a little bit? I shared your background, but share a little bit about your story, if you don't mind, as a starting point.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And I am super excited taking on this role and working closely with Andre, Laura, the entire board, and the entire membership. So very grateful to be given this opportunity. A little bit in terms of what led me here. Why did I decide, amongst everything else that I am doing, to take on this role? Well, first of all, a little bit of background on myself. And Andre mentioned it, but just to double down, I spent 4 years in the Bay Area, starting in the year 2000. Those were the early days of eBay. And what I did not anticipate when I moved to the Bay Area was the connection that I felt with other Canadians in the Bay Area. I remember we used to get together for Canadian Thanksgiving. We would have Canadian Thanksgiving and Canada Day for sure were two pillar events, but even throughout the year. And it was just something about connecting with other Canadians in the Bay Area that really filled me with joy. And it was amazing to me how much we had in common and how we just bonded instantly. In addition, since I left the Bay Area, I also managed global businesses in Taiwan, France, Italy, and other European countries. I've traveled for work to several Asian countries, the Middle East, and most of the European countries. And again, what I found consistently in my business travels, and I continue to find today as I am meeting people from around the world, is when you find out that somebody else is Canadian, there's an instant connection. It's like being part of a secret club almost, and you're like, I'm Canadian. Okay, great. Now I know we're going to get along and we're going to be friends. And, as I think it was Sherry or Laura mentioned, it's about sharing similar values. And I think that is the thing that ties us together, is just this similar values. And I know it's stereotypical for Canadians, but we are polite, we are kind, we have good values, and we enjoy helping other people. And so while those may sound sort of trite, I think that they are extremely important and a core part in terms of what binds us together. In terms of, me, as Andre mentioned, I'm now managing partner at Real Ventures. And one of the reasons I joined Real Ventures when I went into VC is because it is very focused on Canada. So about 80% of our investments are in Canadian-based founders, and 90% of our investments are into Canadians. So even the investments that are outside of Canada, at least half of those are Canadians who are living abroad. So, as I said, absolutely, when I joined Real Ventures and heard about C100, just fell in love with it. So, that's my passion for C100, the organization, why I love it. In terms of why now, I had sort of considered, hey, in the past, should I put my name forward for the co-chair? And, frankly, I thought about it and then, I've got a lot of other stuff going on. But I think it really was the last year which galvanized my commitment to the organization. And I want to read you a quote that Laura shared in one of our board decks, because I think it is so relevant. And she said, this was in late 2000, "A common theme I am hearing from people is a sense of belonging and affinity to Canada and other Canadians, and a strong desire to take action on this feeling. The events of 2020 have driven Canadians abroad to seek out each other." And I think that is absolutely what I have experienced as well. And so I am super excited about joining C100 as a co-chair. And this new mission, or I should say not new, but evolution of our mission to be much more global is extremely exciting to me. And I think that while C100 started as, hey, a bunch of Canadians in Silicon Valley who said, hey, we've got all this greatness in Silicon Valley, let's export it to Canada, let's help Canadian founders, that mission is not as relevant today when you have great Canadian founders, great Canadian resources, and great Canadians all over the world. In the last couple of years, for the first time, Silicon Valley is no longer, it represents less than half of global VC. And that portion continues to decrease. So while I love and respect Silicon Valley and all that it has there, I think it's time for us to say, hey, it's not just about a Silicon Valley Canada connection. This is much more about Canadians as people around the world connecting to each other. And so that, as I said, super excited to take on this new role and help to push forward that vision.
We love it. Thank you, Janet, and for all of you that was a slight peek into a wonderful, awesome presentation that Janet shared about her vision to expand the organization. We got super pumped when you shared that presentation, Janet, with us, and so excited to drive new markets with you for C100 and on our mission to make this place the C1 million one day. So excited that you're here. Thank you very much for your service, and this is going to be a good time. It's going to be a great time. So
absolutely,
back to
we're just getting started.
We are.